deep fakes come from deep learning technology used to create fakes. Fakes especially for negative purposes. किसी को हानि पहुंचाने के लिए. I want to misuse the technology to bully someone, right? And bullying can be in different ways, right? So deepfake, essentially people said, oh, can I make someone do or say the things they have never said or done?
One multinational company has incurred a loss of 200 crores. If I see 3-4 years back, people are using deepfake, but the word got recognized now.
Now, this is true in political propagandas, right? I can create, say, if I don't like someone and I am an evil mind in that sense, I'll go ahead and create some likeness of a politician saying something which they never did just to influence the votes.
Kareena Kapoor आपको wish करेगी. Any of the celebrity वो आपको wish करेगा. Imagine seeing your favorite celebrity saying something they never did. Or a politician delivering a speech that sounds real but is not. That's the power of deepfakes. But what exactly are they? Think of like a magic trick with technology. So our today's guest is Dr. Aayush Bansal, who has received PhD in robotics from CMU, Carnegie Mellon University. He has been awarded with many international awards and recognition, like Qualcomm Fellowship, Uber Preferential Fellowship, and Snap Fellowship. He was working with Meta Reality Labs as a researcher. He has been working on different aspects of generative AI from last 10 years. One thing in generative AI we all have been talking about is deepfakes. In this podcast, we're going to understand what is deepfakes, the technology behind deepfakes, the good, bad and ugly side of deepfakes, the future of deepfakes and the future of avatars in politics and in our day-to-day life. So it's going to be very interesting podcast. It's going to be very engaging podcast. मज़ा आएगा और अच्छा लगे तो please share करना. Hi Ayush, how are you?
Hello Saurabh, I am good. How are you?
I'm good too. So tell us something about yourself. What was your past and how did you get in this industry, generative AI?
So I was doing my PhD in robotics from Carnegie Mellon University at the Robotics Institute. Now at Robotics Institute, there are many different subfields of robotics like computer vision, graphics, machine learning, which is supposedly the brain of the robot, and then manipulation and all the other things. So my specialization was mainly about computer vision, the perception module of the robots.
Okay.
Right? And I was very much interested in creating content that could allow us to tell our stories easily. Right? So that led to me to do a PhD in audiovisual content creation.
Okay. Correct. Tell us something about CMU. So you were doing all these things in CMU, right?
So CMU or Carnegie Mellon University is the mecca of artificial intelligence and robotics. Robotics was set up in 1972 in Carnegie Mellon, and the founding fathers of artificial intelligence actually comes from Carnegie Mellon, Alan Newell and Herb Simon. It's very interesting. While other people were thinking about AI, Alan Newell and Herb Simon actually created a program that worked. So CMU has this history of producing things that actually work, may actually have their roots at CMU. Now the Robotics Institute at CMU is the largest robotics research in the world. And you can say the second best institute would be 1/10 or 1/20th the size of that particular institute. In many places, you will find like at least 5 or 10 people working in robotics or artificial intelligence and its different aspects. But at CMU, there are 500 people working on this particular topic.
Correct. In fact, AI has begun in CMU, right?
You can say that.
Right. In 1950, I think.
In 1960s, more precisely.
Okay. Correct. So, can you break down the science behind deepfakes for our listeners? Deepfakes क्या है? कैसे वर्क करता है? ये टर्म आई कहाँ से है?
तो थोड़ा कॉन्टेक्स्ट में लेते हैं डीपफेक्स क्या है, पर इसका थोड़ा पास भी देख लेते हैं. ठीक है, तो देयर वाज दिस थिंग अर्लियर we didn't have too much of technology in 1960s and 70s. We wanted to create really great movies. So for example, there's a fantastic movie, Hell's Angel, which was done by great Howard Hughes in maybe after the end of First World War, so 1920, right? No technology as such that existed. So what he did was he took 50 aeroplanes where he put cameras mounted on those planes and did a shoot, right? Now that's just Howard Hughes can do that thing.
1960s, right?
In 1920s.
1920s?
1920s.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. Now that's not possible to do it. Like movies on big budget, Not everyone can tell their stories. Howard Hughes was just a, what do you say, in crazy or genius or whatsoever you can say that, right? Who went on to put multiple cameras on the helicopters and did the actual shoot, right? Now we wanted to tell really great stories, like stories of the places where we have never visited, on different planets or any other thing, right? How do we do that? We can't really take our cameras over there. So we said, can we create the content that we want to tell? So dinosaurs didn't really exist in the today's world, but we brought dinosaurs into the today's world, right? So how could we do that? We said, could we create that content that does not really exist? So there was a field of computer science known as computer graphics, where the researchers were actually working on creating technology that allow us to create the content on computer, which is basically your audio visual content creation, right? I want to create the content which does not really exist, but I want to tell that story. So you can't really have like burning something or something like that. These are all generated using virtual effect, right? Or animation stories. You can't really have animals talking to each other and do the shoot.
Correct.
Somebody is doing that, and then we are rigging those animals basically to tell the story. It's the story that's important, right? So we wanted to tell our stories in multiple forms. And we want to give the producers technology so that they can tell their stories. And so entire field of computer graphics was working on this thing, right? What really happened was all of this technology was very restricted to particular labs. And it would take large amount of time. So for example, might have seen Matrix movie,
Yes.
1998. There's a scene of bullet time, right? So that bullet time scene was shot using 150 cameras, and it took 9 months to produce that particular effect,
Okay.
right? And in that shot, Neo was captured separately. The bullet was computer graphics. The background is computer graphics, right? And it took 9 months, right?
It's just a small scene.
Just a small scene. That's a very powerful scene that is etched into everyone's memory, right? So it was worth 9 months effort, right? This means that technology is restricted to only few people in the world. We have been trying to do it such that anyone, say someone in Africa, someone in India, in the remote parts, can tell their stories because we have really great storytellers, right? How could we do that? The simple idea is, can we democratize the tools that allow other people to tell their stories? The technology becomes so easy that storytellers can do their job, right? At the end of the day, it's the story that's the king.
Correct.
That is where computer graphics researchers were aiming at.
Okay.
Now, all of these technologies, people have been working, say, 1960s and all those things. Many great pioneers who have introduced all of these stuff. It's not that something, I got a chance to be lucky that certain technology matured at the time when I came into the field, right? In 2013, deep learning came into effect. Deep learning, or neural networks as it's being called, that allowed basically different kinds of component to be feasible, which was earlier restricted, which required a lot of manual intervention, could now be done automatically using deep learning methods. So the deep part of the deep fake actually come from deep learning. Okay. So deep learning methodology used to create fakes is called deep fakes. Okay. So part of computer graphics. But the word deep fakes was actually used in a nefarious sense.
In which sense?
Nefarious.
What is
Nefarious meaning for negative usage of the technology, right? It's like I want to misuse the technology to bully someone, right? And bullying can be in different ways, right? So deepfake, essentially people said, oh, can I make someone do or say the things they have never said or done? Now it has many negative consequences, right? It could be used for bullying, child bullying, like, right? Or say some famous star or someone like that, you can create their content in pornographic activities or any activity, right? Because the technology has become easier, right? And make them say or do the things which they never said. Now, it's the thing about human perception that we always want to take the dark side of someone than actually the positive side.
Yes, of course. We
Right?
take negative things first.
Negative things first. Now, this is true in political propagandas, right? I can create, say, if I don't like someone and I am an evil mind in that sense, I'll go ahead and create some likeness of a politician saying something which they never did, just to influence the votes.
Right.
And while the community wanted to create the technology that could be used for good purposes,
Right.
as is true with the technology, it could be misused as well.
Correct. We'll come onto this part. in a while. We'll come to this part, political part and everything. So basically, deep fakes has come from deep learning, right?
Fakes generated using deep learning.
Fakes generated using deep learning. Okay.
I mean, so the word was introduced by a Reddit user in 2017.
Okay. How?
There is no science behind it. It's just a catchy word that got popular.
Yes. In fact, if I see 3-4 years back, there people are using deepfake, but the word got recognized now in recent time.
I would nuance that statement.
Okay.
So I was doing media interviews in 2018 as well. 2018, 2019, and I have done media interviews with media houses from US, UK, France, Taiwan, and other places as well. In India, it caught up now. People have been aware of this thing, and they have been trying to think like, how could we overcome the negative aspects or the deepfake itself? As I said, it's the negative connotation of the content creation, right? But in India, it caught up heat very recently.
So ये तो मालूम पड़ गया कि डीप फेक आया कहाँ से ये वर्ड, इसके पीछे की हिस्ट्री भी बहुत कुछ मालूम पड़ गई है. बट व्हाट इज डीप फेक, कि ये है क्या जो हम वीडियोस वगैरह देख रहे हैं, इन सब चीज़ों के बारे में बात करते हैं.
Deep fakes come from deep learning technology used to create fakes. Fakes especially for negative purposes. किसी को हानि पहुंचाने के लिए. ठीक है, हानि कैसे भी हो सकती है, मेंटली भी हो सकती है, एक्सटॉर्शन भी हो सकती है, बुलिंग भी हो सकती है, फाइनेंशियल फ्रॉड्स भी हो सकते हैं. सपोज कर लो, टू माई नॉलेज इट्स बेसिकली लाइक स्टीलिंग योर आइडेंटिटी. आपकी मैंने वीडियो रिकॉर्ड करके बना दी जो आपने कभी बोला ही नहीं था, ठीक है, दैट इज वीडियो डीप फेक. मैंने आपकी ऑडियो का एक सैम्पल लिया, ठीक है, एक मॉडल ट्रेन किया उस पर, और मैंने कुछ ऐसी चीज़ें बोल दी जो आपने कभी बोली ही नहीं, दैट इज ऑडियो डीप फेक. ठीक है. तो ये प्रोमिनेंट मॉडलिटीज हैं डीप फेक की, वीडियो डीप फेक एंड ऑडियो डीप फेक, जिनके बारे में हम बातचीत करते हैं. But content could be in any form. Right? It's basically stealing your identity. I took a video of yours from the web for a minute or two, right? And then I created a model that can just allow me to create a content that you never said and did.
Okay. So you just need a video of 1 or 2 minutes.
1 or 2 minutes. Video 1 or 2 minutes and audio 1 or 2 minutes.
Okay.
In fact, in recent days, people also take just a single image. There was a something popular on Instagram where they could create a likeness of yours with Shah Rukh Khan, right? You just upload your single image.
Correct.
And they will create a video where you are just sitting with Shah Rukh Khan and hanging out with Shah Rukh Khan or something like that.
So there's an app or website, like, is there any app?
There's a web link which was floated on Instagram.
Right. Okay. Yes. 6 months back, even I have heard about this.
Yes, and there are many companies which have been doing it. I mean, their intention is not to do like use for negative purposes, but yes, there exists a technology which allows you to just take a single photo and then put you on top of someone and make you do or say the things you never did.
This technology has came to do some positive things, but majority people are using it for the dark side, for the negative impacts of this technology.
No, that's not true actually. Majority is being used for the good purposes. Okay. There is a dark minority, but that dark minority actually scares us. I mean, if you look at the movie industry, right? We are doing movie industry. We are doing content creation, right? We have been telling our stories, doing the editing for all the purposes, right?
Right.
Everything that we do in movie industry, basically do lot of editing. That's a content creation to tell your story, right? That's a good use in my sense, right? Because you are telling your story.
Correct.
There is some characters who are taking a negative role, right? And trying to use it for malicious purposes, right? Now, for example, could be used for pornographic activities, right? There is a popular star who never appeared on any of those things, right? There's so much pornographic material that has been available of Scarlett Johansson, right? Just using the technology.
Correct.
Right? In the recent past in India, we have seen this thing, some content being created for many Bollywood celebrities and popular people. Like there was a case of Sachin Tendulkar's voice, even not voice, Sachin Tendulkar's likeness also. Right. So these things have been there. I would say it's not majority, but it's a minority. But this minority also scares us.
But because of this technology, dark sides and negative effects, people are getting to know about what is deepfake. So recently, a few months back, even Rashmika Mandana video went viral. After that video, people got to know about this thing. Not everyone, if I say about metro cities, but as of now as well, if we talk about tier 2, tier 3 cities, people are not aware about this thing.
Yeah, people are not aware of that. And there's a very big majority living in rural part of the country as well.
Everyone has a phone right now.
The thing is, we have access to all the technology that is required. Cell phone is with everyone.
Exactly.
Everyone has computers. People just see a video being forwarded on their laptops or their mobile phones over WhatsApp, and they tend to believe. That's how human perception actually works. Like anything negative said about someone or someone else, like just tend to believe the negative thing first before actually believing the positive side of that. So that is one thing, that it creates a bad reputation about someone even though they haven't done anything.
I believe that audio is lagging behind as compared to video deepfakes. So if I see video deepfakes of any Bollywood celebrities, या अगर कोई भी देखता है, it looks very real as compared to audio. So as we were talking about Rashmika Mandana or any Bollywood celebrity. So for a while you'll think that it is real. आप अगर उसको ढंग से देखोगे तो आपको मालूम पड़ जाएगा that it is something edited or some kind of fake video.
It does not look real.
It does not look real, right? But if I say audio deepfakes, people can tell that it is not real. See, there was one video of the Modi and Meloni video that got viral. But people can tell that it is fake. So right now, audio deepfakes are not as better as videos one. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, the thing is, audio requires editing. In the movie industry, when we clone someone's audio, we do a lot of post-processing on top of it to make it sound real. That technology is non-trivial to be used by anyone else. And so we feel that, yes, it's getting some likeness, but it's not actually there. That's why, as you say, video, when we perceptually see certain thing, we're looking at the faces and all those things, we feel, oh, this is likeness that we are actually expecting, and it clicks with our brain and says, oh, yes, this is exactly it is. And we have to see a couple of times.
Correct.
For audio, we haven't reached that stage. That's right. But I would add a caution about it. Say, even if it's not perfect, right? Somebody cloned your audio. I took some voice samples from you, trained a model and cloned your audio, right? And let's say I want to extort some money out of you. Let's say you called best friend of your father or someone, right? And you say, hey dad, I am stuck somewhere, my phone battery is dead, the battery is not so good and there's a lot of background noise, so there might be some disturbances. And I'm really stuck over here in traffic and I don't have any means or any other thing. Can you send some money to this guy, like using UPI, 20,000, 30,000 or 50,000, so that I can get my car corrected and all that thing and I can come back. Now that creates a panic situation. The person who wants to misuse your voice just put some disclaimer that the voice is not going to be perfect, right? And told the story. Your father is going to be in a panicking situation because they don't want their son. It sounds like their son. Son has already said, I am stuck somewhere, my phone's battery is down, I'm using someone else's phone, there is a background noise and the network is not so good. So it is possible that the voice similarity that he is expecting is not exactly same, but that not so good voice quality can also do the damage.
So you mean to say कि अगर किसी को ऑडियो में डीप फेक करना हो, दे कैन पुट अ डिस्क्लेमर लगा सकते हैं कि मैं अभी बाहर हूँ और मैं बहुत नॉइज वाली एरिया में हूँ, तो आपको शायद मेरी आवाज़ नहीं आएगी या मेरी बैटरी खत्म हो सकती है, नेटवर्क वीक है और आप इस अकाउंट में रुपए डलवा।
जैसे सिंपल एग्जांपल है, ये तो हम एआई और डीप लर्निंग के थ्रू कर रहे हैं ना। जामताड़ा वाला केस तो बहुत पॉपुलर है, ठीक है। क्रेडिट कार्ड फ्रॉड्स. आपके नंबर लिए कॉल किया, बोला कि सो एंड सो बोल रहा हूँ, आप जल्दी से डिटेल भेजो, OTP भेजो, वरना आपका कैंसिल हो जाएगा. ठीक है, वो भी तो एक टाइप से एक फेक आइडेंटिटी है ना.
आइडेंटिटी है.
तो यहाँ पे आपकी आइडेंटिटी चुरा ली गई, वहाँ पे भी किसी की आइडेंटिटी चुराई और आपको चीट करने की कोशिश किया ना.
वो बहुत कॉमन हो गया, अब उससे लोगों को मालूम भी पड़ चुका है कि ऐसे फेक होते हैं. बट वॉइस वाला अगर ऐसे तरह का कोई भी चीज़ होएगी,
या
लोगों को इतनी जल्दी मालूम नहीं पड़ेगा.
राइट.
और people can get fooled easily.
Right. So people are not aware of it. So that the bottom line is that, say for example, with the credit card fraud and all that thing that has happened, people were fooled. All kinds of people, like educated and to the rural period. There was no distinction. Metro state is tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 or rural. They like cheated everyone. Right? Now we are in the same situation in the early days of that kind of credit card fraud. That now people are going to use someone else's identity to cheat their knowns, right? And say, I am so and so calling. Or it's think of it this way. Suppose your Facebook account is hacked, right? That is your likeness, right? That is your identity, right? Nobody knows who's on the other side. Somebody hacks it, and it's a common case. That has happened to a lot of people, and they can relate it to them that somebody hacked your Facebook account and they are sending this message to their friends or other people. Hey, I'm stuck so and so. Can you send me like 1,000 rupees or $1,000? I will return it to you. I need it badly. I'm in a bad situation.
Yeah. So these all are old methods.
Yeah.
People are aware about the Facebook scam or the credit card scam. People are aware about it, right?
Yeah.
But लोग अभी तक इस चीज़ के लिए aware नहीं है. डीप फेक्स
के बारे में लोगों को नहीं पता, वीडियो फेक्स के बारे में इतना नहीं पता है. एंड द गुड थिंग, not the good thing, the thing that we should be doing, or what I meant to say was, the good thing that we should do is to make people aware that, see, such fakes can be created. Say, I can give you an example. I created a technology which allows us to create the audio fakes, so-called audio fakes. Okay, my intention was to develop that technology for speech impaired people, right? When you do laryngectomy,
इसको हिंदी में
हाँ, तो laryngectomy जिन लोगों को थ्रोट कैंसर होता है ना, तो उनका यहाँ पर सर्जरी होती है. ये हमारा laryngia है.
ओके,
ठीक है, laryngia हमारा वॉइस बॉक्स है,
राइट,
ठीक है, जो इसको निकालना पड़ता है, तो उस प्रोसेस को laryngectomy बोलते हैं. ठीक है, अगर हमारा वॉइस बॉक्स से निकल गया तो हम बोलेंगे कैसे?
करेक्ट.
ठीक है, अब उसके लिए ना एक डिवाइस आता है, एक्सटर्नल इलेक्ट्रोलैरिंग्स. उसकी थोड़ा थेरेपी के बाद आवाज़ आ जाती है, बोलने लगता है, क्योंकि वो एक वाइब्रेटर की तरह एक्ट करता है. यहाँ पर ये वाइब्रेट करेगा तो हम बोलेंगे तो आवाज़ आएगी. बट जो आवाज़ आती है बहुत रोबोटिक होती है वो. ठीक है, तो अपना इंटेंशन था कि भाई देखो, ये रोबोटिक आवाज़ तो आ रही है, पर अपन कुछ ऐसा कर सकते हैं क्या कि जो उसकी पुरानी आवाज़ थी वो उसको वापस लौटा दे. सिस्टम के साथ रोबोटिक वॉइस जनरेट कर रहा है, उसको कन्वर्ट करके उसकी जो पुरानी आवाज़ थी, क्योंकि सर्जरी से पहले मैं उसको थोड़ा डेटा रिकॉर्ड कर लूँगा, मॉडल ट्रेन कर लूँगा. ठीक है, अपनी ये इंटेंशन थी. बट इसका मिसयूज़ भी तो हो सकता है ना.
इसका मिसयूज़ ज़्यादा हो,
इसका मिसयूज़ भी हो सकता है. जैसे सपोज करो, वन ऑफ द केस वेयर आई माई सेल्फ फ्रिक्ड आउट कि व्हेन आई क्रिएटेड दिस टेक्नोलॉजी, वन डे आई गॉट अ कॉल फ्रॉम Verizon, my service provider, phone service provider, and they asked me, do you want to put your voice as password? And I was like, hell no, I don't want to put my voice as password because I know my voice can be cloned, right?
Correct, right.
So the technology can be misused, as is case with all the technology. Now the problem is the other technologies, they were not accessible to other people. But while we were trying to democratize this entire technology so that good people can tell their stories, there are a lot of bad people who are going to come and tell really bad and shitty stories.
Correct. So ये चीज़ बन चुकी है अब the throat ones.
हमने प्रोटोटाइप दिखाया था इसका.
Okay.
ठीक है, कि we took some sample and we tried to show like when we use our trained model on this person's voice, how does it sound? And it actually sounds more natural.
More natural.
Right? Some people said it sounded like that previous person or some likeness to some other person.
But is it there in the market now?
No, there's not in the market right now. It was in the research stage.
Any other companies?
No, there's a lot of things that has to happen before it goes, like clearances from the medical industry, a large-scale testing on different patients before we can actually claim. This was just a research prototype that we showed that, see, this is what we can do. Now, what I said was we did a prototype and it's a very simple approach that can be used by anyone. What really ended up happening is the same thing. To come up to the market solution, we have to come to a stage where we do full testing. But the people who do it in the bad intentions doesn't really need a large amount of testing.
Correct.
As is the same thing which I said.
Correct,
Put a disclaimer. Say I am in a situation which is a bad network. Record some voice and play it.
So you are saying कि aware रहना होगा, right?
हाँ.
Aware कैसे रहेंगे? क्योंकि because suppose audio है, आप aware करोगे कैसे?
There is a saying, trust but verify.
But it is not possible every time.
It's not possible every time, but see, you'll have to come up with the things. People have to be aware. So if there's some call that comes, right? You're getting a call from your father, right? A fake call. Somebody is stealing his likeness, right? Or somebody is stealing his voice. You need to verify. Ask something that only you and him would know. Say
If you are doing any serious activity, if you are doing any payment or anything,
anything that comes, just you have to add a caution to that.
Caution.
Say if somebody calls from other phone or something like that, ask where were you few days back or something like that, which only somebody close to my family know. Right? You'll have to add those kinds of caution just to verify.
So at the end, it means there is no antidote right now.
There is no antidote right now. I mean, the thing is, you can put an antidote on a YouTube channel or say Facebook or Instagram, right? Because these are the platforms where you upload a video or audio. There you can put an antidote. Though those antidotes are very brittle as of now, to my knowledge. But how would you put an antidote on a private call?
Correct, right.
I mean, if you put some security thing, then it's actually mean we are somebody is tapping your voice, which you would not like in a democracy or in an independent country. We are not allowed to do that, right? You can't really tap the WhatsApp thing or any other thing. We can only take actions after something has happened to you, but you are already a victim of that. Policies can only be formed on like if something happens to you, right? There is fundamentally no way to detect these kinds of things. If it is happening on a private channel, right? Somebody comes and show a video of you doing and saying something which you never did or said, right? And bullies you that they are going to release that particular video amongst your friends.
Correct.
Who can take an antidote about it? That's not in the public channel, right? How can you counter those kinds of bullies? So these fake identity theft, as I say, or identity theft or likeliness theft or any other thing, if you're doing it on a private channel, it's very hard to control them.
People claim that they can detect audio or video deepfakes. Is it possible?
So I have seen certain research ideas on this particular topic, and I found them to be very brittle. But that is just my knowledge, and it could be that I am ignorant about it. To the best of my knowledge, I have not seen a particular thing which has been deployed on a large scale, which verifies like millions of videos. So millions of videos get uploaded on YouTube or public video platforms every day. And now with the shorts and everything, it has just the number has boosted, right? And gone crazily high. I don't know any such tool that exists right now that is checking all the videos automatically. But maybe I'm wrong. Automatically is difficult because the method that exists, they detect certain kinds of ways to detect. Say there exists a certain methods. You can detect that is the fake created using one of those methods. But if a new fake is being created by another method that is not known to the people, say somebody has never revealed it, how can you detect it?
Correct. It is getting better day by day.
It's getting better day by day, but गिने चुने methods पे वो चलता है, detect करता है. But जरूरी थोड़ी ना है कि उन्हीं methods को use करके अपन fake बनाएंगे. कुछ भी बना सकता है ना, और कोई नई technology ले आए जिसको break कर दे, because these methods are very brittle, as I said.
Correct.
By brittle, I mean they are easily to break.
Government action ले रही है कुछ?
Government action ले रही है, and I think India may be one of the few countries in the world which can actually put the policies together. So there is no government regulation, to my knowledge, in the rest of the world. And I am nuancing it. I could be wrong about it, but this is to my knowledge. There have been conversations among US Senate and other people who want to talk about regulating AI. But government of India has specifically been talking about regulating deepfakes. And this is my knowledge just from reading the news articles and different things. I don't know the internal working of the government of India. I see the Minister of Electronics and IT have been working on creating certain policies about deepfakes. But once again, they are, after it has been created or you have been a victim of that, right? It's basically somebody created a video deepfake of yours and put it on public platform. You go to the policing agencies or they find it out and they find the person who has uploaded and they're gonna find that person or sentence them for a certain thing, some type of punishment. But the damage has already been made, right?
Right.
Even if the video has gone viral for like let's say a day or two, that means millions of people have already seen it. So damage is already done. Who is going to pay for that mental damage that has already been done? I don't think there is a good way to detect it. And once again, it comes to the situation like all the public platforms need to have something. When a video is uploaded to them, it verifies, is it a real video or it's a fake video? And I have been saying this thing since like last 5 years now, 5-6 years now, starting from 2018. If it's a fake video, there needs to be a disclaimer which says, this is a fake video, do not make any opinion out of it.
Yeah, of course, it is very difficult. अगर disclaimer में आप लिख भी दोगे, तो जो benefit हो सकता है, people will get to know that it is a fake video, right?
It's a fake video.
But they don't want you to know that it's a fake video.
For example, Twitter and all those things have started doing this thing now. Any news that has been posted, it verifies. And remember this thing, not just now, but sometimes back, it started to regulate all the tweets and media posts and all those things. Yeah. There are some news agencies as well, like fact check kind of thing, who would check that is this fact correctly reported. And then they will tell, no, this fact was not, is fabricated, right? That it was not properly told or this is just a propaganda or anything like that. So I think we need some sort of a regulation in terms of technology.
Of course. So how political parties are using it for elections?
I don't know of a political party using. May not be just political party, and let's say somebody who idolizes a particular politician wants them to win or wants them to, an individual. It's not an entity, right? And they're just idolizes a particular person. They want their, like let's say, competitors to struggle. And they can create those kinds of things.
See, suppose if some opposition political leader, if he is saying something, something beneficial for the opposite party, if some deepfake has been created, in which he is saying good things about opposition political, right?
To their competitor, basically.
Their competitor,
basically. Yeah, so that is, technology is possible.
But is it happening?
I don't know. I have heard of certain cases, but you have to see this thing. Not just that creating an audio or video deepfake is still some work to do. It requires some efforts. It's not like just plucking the fruit and eating it, right? You require some resources. If somebody needs to know some part of technology and somebody needs to know how to operate all of those things, okay?
Not everyone can do it.
Not everyone can do it, but we are having now the apps and different things which are coming, so that is possible. But apps are being regulated by the private companies, so they would not want to create such content. So if somebody goes to a private company and asks, can you create a pornographic material for me? I'm pretty sure the private companies are going to say no, as I have done in the past. Like when I got the request, can you create a certain pornographic material? And I said, hell no. Yeah, some third party came to us and said, we want to create this thing for a pornographic museum. I said, we don't do this stuff. We do our academic research and we go out and tell people that this is how things happen and this is where you should be aware about. Because there can be people who does not release their stuff. Right, and still use the technology. The video deepfake can be misused for political propagandas by political parties.
Yeah, for elections.
So for elections.
Indian elections are coming up.
Now,
right?
honestly, I don't know of political parties, but I want to put two cases over here. One is from United States. And it's not a deepfake. There is a popular example when Nancy Pelosi is a US congressman, senator. I don't know exactly which one of it she is. She was saying something, was recorded. Somebody just manipulated the frame rates of her video, right? So that means she seems to be slow and drowsy when she speaks.
Audio ones are more dangerous.
ऑडियो वंस आर वेरी वेरी डेंजरस फाइनेंशियल फ्रॉड वगैरह करने के लिए. बहुत सारे केसेस ऐसे हो चुके हैं फाइनेंशियल फ्रॉड्स
Few
के.
days back, one multinational company has incurred a loss of 200 crores.
या
And due to sophisticated deepfake.
या तो आसान है ना. सपोज कर लो किसी के पास डेटा मिल गया किसी रिलेशनशिप मैनेजर का या कोई मैनेजर का जो 100 पोर्टफोलियोज मैनेज कर रहा है, ठीक है, उसने बना दिया एक वॉइस क्लोन किया, कस्टमर्स के पास भेज दिया कि भाई किसका सो एंड सो स्टॉक इज गोइंग डाउन, यू जस्ट टेक आउट योर मनी, आई एम टेलिंग यू इन गुड फेथ एंड सो. अब हर किसी को लगता है कि यार ओ इतना नुकसान होने वाला है मेरा तो, या ये होगा. इट्स बेसिकली प्लेइंग विद योर इमोशंस एंड इनसिक्योरिटीज़ कि कुछ हो ना जाए. तो उसके कारण आप उसको ये थोड़ा ना रिकॉग्नाइज करो कि अरे वेट ये गलत है. वंस अगेन आई वुड से दिस थिंग इज सिमिलर टू जमताड़ा, राइट. क्रेडिट कार्ड डिफॉल्ट बोलते थे वो लोग, बोलते थे आपकी इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का बिल नहीं आया, मोबाइल का बिल नहीं आया, अरे आपका कनेक्शन कट जाएगा, आप जल्दी से अपना वो लो, भेजो मुझे डिटेल्स भेजो, OTP आया है. एंड इन द हीट ऑफ द मूवमेंट पीपल यूज्ड टू डू दैट. हाँ, वो ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम लोगों को समझ में आया, गवर्नमेंट टेकिंग एक्शंस अगेंस्ट ऑल दीज पीपल हु आर डूइंग थिंग्स इन बैड फेथ, कि भाई ये गलत है. प्रॉपर बताया, अवेयरनेस कैंपेन्स किए, सारे अवेयरनेस कैंपेन्स चल ही रहे हैं ना. जैसे पंकज त्रिपाठी कर रहे हैं अभी कमर्शियल, जिसमें बताते हैं कि भाई ये आइडेंटिटी थेफ्ट वाले केसेस, या कोई आपको फ्रॉड कॉल्स कर सकता है, या पीपल विल ट्राई टू मेक यू इनसिक्योर, गेट यू इन अ पैनिकिंग सिचुएशन. डोंट पैनिक.
Right. So, जमतारा वाला केस, क्रेडिट कार्ड केस, लोग इससे
अवेयर हो चुके हैं.
aware हो चुके हैं.
Yes.
But it is getting, people are getting better day by day with the pattern of scams.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And this is the most dangerous जो मुझे लगता है अभी तक, क्योंकि इसका अभी तक तो कोई भी एंटीडोट होएगा नहीं.
नहीं, कोई एंटीडोट है नहीं.
How can we ensure that advancement in generative AI can benefit all of the society, not a few people?
कोई भी जनरेटेड कंटेंट हो, विच इज़ व्हाट आई हैव बीन एडवोकेटिंग, कि एनी टाइम अ जनरेटेड कंटेंट इज अपलोडेड ऑन अ पब्लिक प्लेटफॉर्म, there is a flag that comes, or disclaimer that comes, which says this is a generated content, do not make any opinion out of it. Right? So such things need to be in place. We do not have such
is not placed right
it's
now.
not placed. To my knowledge, it's not placed. ऐसा होना चाहिए. प्राइवेट चैनल्स के लिए अपन सिर्फ अवेयरनेस कर सकते हैं कि भाई तुम्हारी आवाज़ क्लोन की जा सकती है. और AI तो टूल है. अगर सपोज कर लो किसी रियल पर्सन ने इम्पर्सोनेट कर लिया आपको, ठीक है, वो भी तो इम्पर्सोनेशन ही है ना.
Correct.
AI टूल है विच इज़ बेसिकली एनोनिमस, कि उसका आपको पता नहीं कौन आइडेंटिटी है जिसने किया है, भगवान दो देयर इज समवन बिहाइंड इट.
Right.
So it makes anonymization easier. AI. But voice cloning can be done by some other person also. Image fake, video fake, ये नई नहीं है. ये these have been going. Video fakes you can say slightly newer. But image fakes, Photoshop कर रहा था ना, ठीक है. Second World War में there has been many images from Stalin,
Correct.
right? जहाँ पे editing होती थी images के ऊपर, just to make the perception about certain leaders. Because people would see the photos and they would make perception,
Right.
right? तो image editing चल रही थी. People, folks in, like, let's say in the detection area never took these things so seriously.
Correct.
They said the technology is not going to come to a stage where it's so easy to use.
Right.
Everyone was like, okay, this technology exists, but it's restricted to certain labs or certain places, institutions which could afford large sums of money. ठीक है ना. तो अब ये चीज़ होगी इतनी आसान कि सपोज कर लो आप 100, 200, 300 रुपये में अपने बर्थडे मैसेज बनवा रहे हो पर्सनलाइज्ड. आपने देखा होगा ना वो एड्स आती हैं, करीना कपूर विशिंग यू बर्थडे, ठीक है. वो क्या है, वो भी तो ऑडियो वीडियो डिफेक ही है ना. करीना कपूर ने अब सबके थोड़ी ना आवाज़ वो बोला है कि भाई हैप्पी बर्थडे सौरभ, हैप्पी बर्थडे सो एंड सो, हैप्पी बर्थडे सो एंड सो. उनकी तो एक रिकॉर्ड किया सैम्पल, उनकी लाइकनेस का मॉडल ट्रेन किया, और अब किसी का भी बर्थडे हो, आपने बोला कंपनी को भाई ये लो 300 रुपये लो, 400 रुपये लो, 1000 रुपये लो, ये मैसेज बुलवा दो.
People think कि वो करीना कपूर ने ही बोला है.
People think, but I'm shocked people think that way as well. But this is getting a huge traction these days.
So because you see the ad on social media, right?
Yeah.
कि करीना कपूर आपको विश करेगी,
Yeah.
अब any of the celebrity वो आपको
Yeah.
विश करेगा, तो एक माइंडसेट जो होएगा तो आपको वही लगेगा ना कि वो विश करेंगे.
विश करेंगे.
मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल दे थिंक कि हाँ वही विश कर,
वही wish कर
दे
रहे
आर
हैं.
नॉट अवेयर कि इट्स अ AI बेस्ड टूल.
हाँ, अब इसका फ़ायदा भी है. देखो इसका फ़ायदा क्या है. देयर वाज दिस पॉपुलर दिवाली एड, आई थिंक 2 years बैक आफ्टर कोविड, राइट. मार्केट्स आर बैडली हिट. तो शाहरुख खान थे उसमें ना. तो उसमें क्या था कि शाहरुख खान जनरली बड़े ब्रांड्स के ऐड करते हैं. तो उसका कॉन्सेप्ट बहुत अच्छा था कि शाहरुख खान लोकल ब्रांड्स की ऐड करेंगे. मतलब अगर मैं यहाँ पे बैठा हूँ, इंदौर में बैठा हूँ, ठीक है, तो इंदौर में जो मेरी गरीब वाला हलवाई है या सब्जी वाला है उसके बारे में आए, वो कपड़े वाले के बारे में ऐड आए. अब शाहरुख खान सबकी ऐड तो नहीं करने जाएंगे ऑब्वियसली, कोई अफोर्ड भी नहीं कर सकता वो शाहरुख खान को उस बजट में. तो सपोज कर लो मैं गया शाहरुख खान के पास, मैंने कहा सर मैं आपको रिकॉर्ड करूँगा, मतलब मैं नहीं, द कंपनी हु डिड इट, अपन रिकॉर्ड करते हैं आपको और आपका एक मॉडल ट्रेन करेंगे. उस मॉडल से ट्रेन करने के बाद अपन जो कंपनीज जो छोटे छोटे ग्रुप्स हैं उनसे थोड़ा थोड़ा पैसा ले लेंगे. ठीक है, क्योंकि वॉल्यूम इतना बड़ा है तो 2500 रुपये भी ले ले, 2000 रुपये भी ले ले, जितना भी ले लें, उससे एक वीडियो क्रिएट हो जाएगी. तो जो लोकल शॉपकीपर है उसके लिए तो आसान हो गया ना काम, कि उसको अपनी ब्रांडिंग शाहरुख खान से हो रही है, वो भी 2500 रुपये में. ठीक है ना. तो एक फ़ायदा ही है उसका. पर उसका मिसयूज़ भी है सेम टेक्नोलॉजी का, है ना. कि मॉडल तो एग्जिस्ट करता ही है, चलो ये ठीक है, ये प्राइवेट कंपनी रेगुलेट कर रही है इसको आज की डेट में, तो वो कुछ नेफेरियस पर्पसेस के लिए यूज़ नहीं करने देगी. पर टेक्नोलॉजी तो है ही है ना.
टेक्नोलॉजी तो अवेलेबल है और तभी डार्क साइड्स
भी हैं इसकी, लाइक एनी टेक्नोलॉजी
करेक्ट
कि एग्जिस्ट करती है. बट द प्रॉब्लम विद अदर टेक्नोलॉजीज इज दे आर वेरी कंट्रोल्ड. जैसे न्यूक्लियर टेक्नोलॉजी है, उससे इलेक्ट्रिसिटी भी प्रोड्यूस कर सकते हो, उससे बॉम्ब भी बना सकते हो. ठीक है ना. AI भी एक टेक्नोलॉजी है, उससे तुम अच्छी स्टोरीज भी बता सकते हो. मतलब जनरेटिव AI यू कैन टेल गुड स्टोरीज ऑल्सो एंड यू कैन टेल बैड और शिटी स्टोरीज ऑल्सो. बैड एंड शिटी स्टोरीज कैन लीड टू लाइक small nuisances as well as could also create big disasters as well.
Correct.
Amongst nations. आजकल तो वैसे इतना प्रॉब्लम चल रहा है amongst different nations, fights and wars and all the situations, and you create any heated content, it just gets viral.
Right.
मतलब by the time you get to know it's a generated content, it's already viral and people are talking about it.
Right.
So the purpose is already lost. So we have to come to a point where we can quickly detect like this is a generated content and put a disclaimer.
So I believe people are not aware about deepfake threats, and particularly if I talk about tier 2 and tier 3 cities
or rural. Even metro. Why exclude metros out of metro? में एक छोटा सा तबका ही है पॉपुलेशन का जिसको पता है. पर मेट्रो में ऐसा थोड़ी ना है कि सारे अमीर ही रहते हैं. ठीक है ना. हर जनता है वहाँ पे भी.
हर जनता है.
ठीक है, तो उनको भी नहीं पता. tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 actually this thing that people might know that there exists something, but the fact that it can happen to them is alien to them right now.
हाँ मालूम है, बट आपके साथ भी हो
सकता है.
सुना है कि डीफेक के बारे में सुना है, बट हो सकता है
आपके साथ. मतलब कोई ये बोले कि यार ये तो सेलिब्रिटीज़ के साथ ही करते हैं, अपन को क्या फ़र्क पड़ता है. सेलिब्रिटीज़ कितने होंगे, 1000, 2000, 10,000 ज़्यादा ज़्यादा, ये 1 लाख होंगे. अपन कितने हैं, 100 करोड़ की पॉपुलेशन है अपनी, उसमें 1 लाख कितना ही बड़ा नंबर हो गया. ठीक है, बट द फैक्ट कि अपने साथ भी हो सकता है, तभी तो मैं डरूंगा ना. अगर मेरे को लगता ही नहीं कि अपने साथ हो सकता है, कौन करेगा कौन नहीं करेगा.
सो what do you think of the next 5 to 10 years of AI?
Now, I see a huge prospects of AI in next 5 to 10 years, but I may be biased when answering this particular thing. Biased because I have been working in the field for 10 to 15 years when there weren't a lot of things and now there's a lot of optimism amongst the general audience.
Correct.
I mean, there's a statement like one of old researchers used to give back 25 years back. If you say to people that you are working in AI, they would say, what did you smoke? क्या फूक के आए हो?
Okay.
Now it's at a hot stage that everyone wants to say that they are working on AI. You take any LinkedIn profile, people say, we are experts in generative AI after reading 1 month content on YouTube or something like that.
Correct.
Right? So everyone wants to be associated with AI. Partly because we started seeing some potential over here. It's not people at blame, but because things were not working back then and now things have started working. Right? I see a huge prospect in developing country like India, starting from education, where we have a large population that is in rural India. They don't really have access to very good quality teachers, right? Can we have very good teachers reach out through AI, which is in one way, which is audiovisual content creation? Say I have one teacher who has their subject recording in English or Hindi or some language, right? Now we have so many languages in India, right? Can I do the translation such a way the translation looks perfect, sounds like that particular person speaking, and also have the facial expressions and all this, basically lip sync to be very good,
Correct.
right? These things have started happening. So that's one good
But
potential.
India में भी हो रही है ये चीजें.
Well, the people are developing the content where they take an educator who has created a content and translate them into local Indian languages.
But I feel it is not accessible to everyone.
हाँ, तो अभी वो स्टेज पे नहीं आया, but government of India, I think they are trying with the certain thing like MPTL and CPT. I may be missing out on certain names, but government has been trying to do this thing where they want to develop content in different Indian languages. India is rich with all these different languages, right? And that also adds a challenge. Like, how do we teach this particular content in the local language of a particular student or a child or a kid, as to whatsoever you say. Now that is one side, education.
Do you think people would be comfortable to get treated through robot or?
So not robot, but you can say this way, like you can have certain methods where a doctor can talk to the patient in a remote areas. Some sort of virtual agent which can give you first aid, right? If you just have fever or some basic stuff, you can talk to virtual agents and get the diagnosis, right? This is, and a doctor is needed in, like, let's say when you have, it's an urgent thing, right? Now there are nuances to all of this thing. Definitely, like, we can't say that we can bypass all of these things by virtual agent. We'll have to do all the nuances, but there are possibilities. Say India has a large amount of historical architectures, cultural heritage, very rich cultural heritage, both in terms of tangible and intangible things, like tangible things like monuments and all those things. And there are many languages which are getting extinct as well. Certain inscriptions we don't really understand, documenting them, documenting the fine details of the monuments, because they are fading away as well, right? So their data-driven methods can be very helpful. Planning out traffic in cities could be very helpful using AI. Now, India is going to have the largest road network in the world. It's just few thousand kilometers behind United States. And mind it, the size of United States is 6 to 7 times or maybe 4 times that of India, right? So essentially, the road development in India is going at a crazily high speed, right? Now, when you develop roads, you also need surveillance on those roads, right? How do you add surveillance? That is where the cameras are going into picture. Like, are people throwing litters on the street? They need to be fined.
But it is happening already,
Because not really, they are in pilot state right now, not really happening at a large scale. Right now, what is happening is we only have e-challans for speed and crossing the zebra crossing, right? But we don't have e-challans for the seat belts or like 3 people driving on motorbikes or going in wrong lane, or like, let's say, motorbikes going in on big highways or like the very high speed highways.
Many young people, they think that AI can eat their jobs. They're scared of it, right?
So that's the nature
And
of
I think
technology.
eventually it is happening as well.
That's the nature of technology as well. Yellow pages used to be a big thing back in the days.
When the diary,
Diary, and as like people used to look up all those things, something on web came up and this disappeared. Now, earlier the rate of disappearance of technology was slow. By that I mean, like, if you take certain thing, they stayed for a longer period of time. Say, but now the pace is very high, or the pace is huge. And like, let me give an example. In last few years, floppy drive came and it disappeared. CDs came and it disappeared. DVDs came, it disappeared. Even we were at a point when USB was disappearing. If you look at one of Apple's own, Apple does not have USBs in it. Now it has just USB-C connection.
Correct.
Right? The previous USBs one has just gone. And now people are just putting their content on Google Drive and all these things. Right? Because internet has become so fast. So you see the technology has changed. Mobile phones, Nokia was once a big player in the mobile, right? Those phones, they used to be a mobile phone. And now they just wiped out of the industry.
You are just saying that you need to evolve.
You need to evolve. Yes, there would be transfer of jobs in technology. But I think the way, maybe I am just optimistic or I am biased, the way I think is the purpose of any technology is to serve people. So let's say if there is a storyteller who wants to tell certain story, they're gonna use those tools to make their life better. And that is how I see. You are working in certain industry. You want to use artificial intelligence or robots to make your life easier. Say for example, and this is a very serious example. Scavenging. What do you say? There are human beings who go down the gutter to clean the gutters. That's not a kind of profession anyone aims for.
Correct.
Right? Can we have an artificial intelligence and robots that basically does all that job? So there are certain things which don't really consider as profession. They should definitely go away by the onset of artificial intelligence and robots.
Correct.
Right? There are certain things where artificial intelligence and robots will be helpful to their human operator. But there will also be cases when there will be transfer of technologies. That we cannot really assume that if we have acquired a particular skill now, that skill is going to last for their entire lifetime, which used to be the case earlier. Like people would learn certain thing and they would spend the rest of their life on that particular profession and they would be good. Now is not that situation. Now if you are not innovating or if you are not adapting yourself, you will be quickly erased from the market.
How can we ensure that AI remains a tool for human creativity and for problem solving, not a replacement for it?
In certain places, we need replacement. Let me nuance this thing. अपने यहाँ जनता जाती है गटर्स में सफाई करने के लिए.
Correct.
Those are not the profession anyone seek for. ठीक है ना? तो अपने को चाहिए कि AI robots हों जो साफ कर दें. ठीक है ना? तो ऐसी सिचुएशन में अपने को रिप्लेसमेंट ही चाहिए ना. या there are certain things which are hard, like कोई किसी का खेत है, किसान है, ठीक है, फसल में कीड़ा लग गया या कुछ नुआंस ऐसा है जो खाली टेक्निकली एडवांस, मतलब somebody really into scientific advancement know about it. ठीक है, अगर जब तक उसके तक ये इन्फॉर्मेशन पहुंचेगी तब तक लेट हो सकता है. तो क्या अपन कुछ ऐसे टूल्स बना रहे हैं कि जिससे उसका काम कम हो जाए. ऐसे टूल्स बन भी रहे, मतलब कितना सक्सेसफुल डिप्लॉयमेंट है उन सब चीज़ों पे इट टेक्स टाइम, क्योंकि ये सब पॉलिसीज़ की बातें होती हैं ना. पॉलिसीज़ टेक टाइम, टेक्नोलॉजी डिप्लॉयमेंट ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजीज एट लार्ज स्केल टेक टाइम. So there are certain things where we want to replace humans with artificial intelligence, which we don't really consider as a profession. Like इसको सिंपल तरीके से ऐसा सोच लो ना, कोई पेरेंट अपने चाइल्ड को बोलता है कि भाई this is not the thing which I want you to do. They are doing it because of the situation, the financial conditions. ठीक है, पर वो नहीं करना चाहते. तो ऐसी सिचुएशन में अगर कोई कर रहा है, क्योंकि ये चीज़ें ज़रूरी तो है ही है ना, कोई कर रहा है तो इम्पॉर्टेंट है, तो इन दिस प्लेसेस वी really need replacement. But there are other things which are being seen as professions right now. So the professions will drift, that I can say, and it has drifted always. I mean, जो प्रोफेशन पहले थे वो अब नहीं है, जो अब होंगे वो शायद कल ना हो. ठीक है, ये तो ट्रू है. पर ऐसा भी अपना ये भी है कि totally we don't want to create artificial intelligence that replace humans. We want to create artificial intelligence that helps humans. तो इसलिए there would be many things where AI would be useful, could not be a replacement actually. I don't see it as a replacement in many cases, but it would be useful. Suppose कर लो.
You're so much optimistic about it.
I'm so much optimistic and biased about it. It's quite possible. इसको ऐसा भी ले सकते हैं. सपोज कर लो एक रेडियोलॉजिस्ट है, बहुत लोगों को सर्व करता है, ठीक है, अगर मैं एक ऐसा टूल बना दूँ जिसमें आपका स्कैनिंग टाइम ही कम हो जाए, ठीक है, तो उसका फ़ायदा है ना, इट विल रिड्यूस दैट अमाउंट ऑफ टाइम दे कैन केटर टू, ठीक है. और ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि दैट पर्सन कैन एक्चुअली गिव देयर सबऑर्डिनेट्स दैट पर्टिकुलर थिंग टू लुक एट द masses, right? And they can look at special cases which require the particular talent, right? तो कहीं ना कहीं तो जॉब्स चेंज हो रही हैं ना, तो जॉब्स चेंज होंगी, द नेचर ऑफ जॉब्स विल चेंज फॉर श्योर. अगर आप अपने आप को अडाप्ट नहीं कर रहे तो इशू रहेगा ही रहेगा. अगर इफ़ यू आर एडमेंट ऑन सर्टन थिंग,
Want to survive, you need to evolve, you need to adapt.
हाँ, because the way the technology is advancing, you need all those things. मतलब आप ये नहीं बोल सकते ना कि भैया अगर मेरे को अभी 100 टेराबाइट्स चाहिए, ठीक है, तो मैं फ्लॉपी ड्राइव से काम कर पाऊँ, ठीक है, आपको आना पड़ेगा ना हाई स्पीड डिस्क वगैरह पे या क्लाउड वगैरह पे एंड ऑल दोज थिंग्स. So the nature of technology is changing. We are using technology a lot than we were using previously. So certain professions would change. New professions would be generated. जैसे आज से 5 साल पहले या 6 साल पहले या 10 साल पहले किसी ने यूट्यूबर ऐसा प्रोफेशन थोड़ा ना सुना था. बट आज आप देखते हो यूट्यूबर भी एक इन्फ्लुएंसर, these are big time professions, नहीं? क्यों? क्योंकि प्लेटफॉर्म्स आ गए हैं ऐसे. आज से 5 साल बाद होंगे वो प्लेटफॉर्म्स, अपने को नहीं पता कि यूट्यूबर होगा. क्या पता है कोई AI बना दे, एंड इट्स एक्चुअली हैपनिंग दैट यू क्रिएट अ क्लोन and which is running 24/7 better than your influencer.
Let's talk about avatars. What big companies are doing, like Meta is heavily investing on avatars and virtual reality, right? Let's talk about.
तो थोड़ा बैकग्राउंड ले लेते हैं इस पे. मेटा बेसिकली, आई एम नॉट अ रिप्रेजेंटेटिव ऑफ मेटा बेसिकली, बट आई कैन टेल यू एज अ थर्ड पर्सन, राइट, विच इज़ नॉन इन पब्लिक डोमेन, ठीक है. तो मेटा के बहुत सारे प्लेटफॉर्म्स हैं, ठीक है, एंड इट पोजिशन इट सेल्फ एज अ इंस्टीट्यूशन और एज अ कंपनी दैट कनेक्ट्स पीपल. फेसबुक का वही पर्पज़ था ना, फ्रेंड्स को कनेक्ट करना. इंस्टाग्राम को वही पर्पज़ था. मोडालिटी चेंज हो रही है मैसेजेस का, ठीक है. द बेस्ट फॉर्म ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन दैट वी हैव राइट नाउ इज वीडियो कॉन्वर्सेशन और वीडियो मैसेजिंग, राइट. दैट्स supposedly the best thing. So there are problems to that as well, right? Let's even ask ourselves, what is the best form of communication? Meta is the communication company, right? उनके बहुत सारे प्लेटफॉर्म्स हैं जो सारे, इट्स ऑल अबाउट कम्युनिकेशन, राइट, प्रोवाइडिंग प्लेटफॉर्म्स टू पीपल टू कनेक्ट. बट लेट्स आस्क दिस क्वेश्चन, व्हाट इज द बेस्ट फॉर्म ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन? In 1968, JCR Licklider and Bob Taylor wrote a paper which says that how can we develop a technology that surpasses face-to-face conversation or communication? Let's say if I was doing a video call with you, right, the quality of interaction would not have been this great. Right? It's just two of us physically sitting next to each other that we can have this kind of conversation. This is called face-to-face conversation. JCR Licklider and Bob Taylor started the paper with this thing. In a few years, human will be able to develop a technology that can surpass face-to-face conversation. Meaning, यहाँ पे बैठे अपन, ठीक है, will be able to have computers or machines that would enable us to have even a better form of interaction than just sitting next to each other. ठीक है. Now, one version of it is कि which is what Meta's version or people in virtual reality's version is कि अपन क्या ऐसे avatars बना सकते हैं क्या कि suppose कर लो आपका avatar है, मेरा avatar है, maybe we are very far apart from one another, ठीक है, but despite that we can come to a location not in physical world but in virtual world, ठीक है, and then you can animate that avatars of yours. Now when people think of word avatars, तो उनके दिमाग में आता है आइडिया कार्टूनिश कुछ होगा, पर Meta is beyond this thing. So the work that is happening at the reality labs of Meta, and it's not in public domain very well, they have very high quality photorealistic avatars, right, which just looks like you.
Correct,
right? So they have been demonstrating these things like where two people communicate with one another, they are quite far away. Say one is on the east coast of the US and another person is on the west coast of the US, and they are able to do the communication and wearing a virtual reality headset where they feel they are in the same room. Okay, so this is the next generation of communication platform, right? Where you build an avatar which looks like me, talks like me, acts like me, right? And is remotely controlled.
But do you think that that will be accessible for everyone, because it is expensive.
It is expensive right now. That is what the research labs are working on, to make it accessible for everyone. Right? Right now it's very expensive. Right now, to create a very high quality, and not right now, let me just say this thing, like in the public domain, it takes quite a substantial efforts to create a very high quality avatar. But it's just a matter of time. People are working on it. There are different things that are evolving. Hardware is evolving, internet is evolving, the quality of capture things are evolving, machine learning methods are evolving. So we'll be able to see a large number of avatars in the future, photorealistic avatars, which exactly looks like you. Your avatar exactly looks like you. That even your mom would say that this avatar looks better than actual you. You can see some people, say for example, Lex Friedman has a podcast with Mark Zuckerberg, and they use the avatars to do the conversation, right? So that is one thing that you can check it out. So there are different kinds of avatars. Like the Reality Labs research in Pittsburgh, the lab where I was working has been doing a fantastic work in building these facial and full body avatars. So the hope is like you would be able to, you would be far apart, like across the continent, but yet be able to interact with another person as if they are sitting next to you.
मतलब होएगा, सारी चीज़ें होएगी, but time लगेगा at the end तो इसका वो है.
Time lagega. The thing which I would say is government policies should be included from day one. AI revolution has not happened to India yet.
Yeah,
ठीक है?
correct.
बहुत सारी situations हैं जहाँ पे ये helpful होगा, बहुत सारी situations हैं हमको नहीं भी चाहिए.
जैसे का जो पोटेंशियल जो यूज है वो अभी तक हमको मालूम नहीं है कि किस तरीके से यूज
नहीं, हमको पता है उसका पोटेंशियल यूज क्या है, पर हम उनको लोगों तक कैसे लेकर जाए वो नहीं हमको पता. और दूसरा हमको ये नहीं पता कि भाई अगर इसको ले भी जाए तो इसका मिसयूज कहाँ पर होगा या कहाँ पर नहीं होगा. तो थोड़ा बहुत रफ आइडियाज हैं लोगों के पास कि ऐसा हो सकता है, ऐसा हो सकता है, बट वी नीड मोर डोमेन एक्सपर्ट्स ओवर हियर वर्किंग ऑन द प्रॉब्लम स्पेसिफिक टू इंडिया. अभी जो प्रॉब्लम्स है, वी आर नॉट केटरिंग टू द इंडियन मासेस व्हेन इट कम्स टू एआई. अपन एक स्टैंडर्डाइज फ्रेमवर्क में चल रहे हैं, जैसे टू सम एक्सेप्शंस आल्सो, देयर आर सम एक्सेप्शंस एज वेल टू दिस थिंग, कि ये डिफाइन कर दी गई है एट द वर्ल्ड लेवल कि ये प्रॉब्लम है, अपन उसी को सॉल्व करें. जैसे सपोज कर लो ऑटोनोमस ड्राइविंग, ठीक है, वो अपन ने डिफाइन कर दी वो प्रॉब्लम है. ऑटोनोमस सेल्फ ड्राइविंग कार्स, ठीक है ना, तो ड्राइवरलेस कार्स जिसको आप बोलते हो, ठीक है. पर अपने यहाँ भी इस चीज़ की ज़रूरत नहीं है. टाइम भी लगेगा अपने यहाँ, क्योंकि रोड्स वगैरह डेवलप नहीं है, बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं, ठीक है. तो अपने यहाँ ठीक है रिसर्चर्स काम कर रहे हैं, दैट इज़ गुड, बट इट्स बेटर टू वर्क ऑन ट्रैफिक मैनेजमेंट देन टू वर्क ऑन ऑटोनॉमस ड्राइविंग और सेल्फ ड्राइविंग कार्स. सेल्फ ड्राइविंग इज स्टिल फार बिहाइंड इन द वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज एंड द डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज, राइट, क्योंकि पॉलिसीज नहीं है, ठीक है ना. पॉलिसीज बहुत ज़रूरी है. एंड आई कैन टेल यू वन थिंग, yes, social media platforms were good in connecting people, but actually they created more harm because they came just at so much fast pace that people didn't realize their potential. AI could do even more harm if people are not aware. So the key thing is, whatever we develop, it is the responsibility of the researcher, scientist, academia, or whosoever is developing. They tell to people about it like transparently.
डीप फेक के बारे में सारी चीज़ें मालूम पड़ गई, बहुत सारी चीज़ें इंफॉर्मेशन जो नहीं मालूम थी वो भी मालूम पड़ी है इसमें. एंड आई फील दिस पॉडकास्ट इज गोइंग टू बी वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. थैंक यू सो मच फॉर योर टाइम. थैंक यू सो मच फॉर कमिंग ऑन आवर शो.
Thank you very much.
Hope you also like this concept.
Yeah.
And hope you also like the podcast as well.
Yes, definitely looking forward to it.
Okay, thank you.